Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 164, and today we are going to be discussing what to do over long holidays. If you have a long holiday coming up, this is the episode for you. I have about 5 weeks off now because I have finished my grades. I'm taking the final exams to campus today. Have them in my backpack next to me, ready to go after we're finished recording this. And that will mark my 5 weeks of freedom. And so today we need to talk about what am I going to do over this long holiday. And I'm sure some of you occasionally struggle as well when you have a long holiday. What to do in order to not be bored and not actually want to go back to school or work 3 or 4 weeks into your holiday. So we'll talk about that today. I'm curious to see what advice and tips Jared has in store for me. So without further ado, my good buddy Jared, what's going on, Jared?
Hello. Hashtag no days off. That's my tip. Spread a little love.
Please. Hustle hard.
Yes. Hustle always. Get a side hustle, Chad. That's my recommendation. Please follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. Twitter, Untranslatable1, the number one. Sometimes, I blame you guys for all this hesitation, because if you guys were to actually listen to me when I were to tell you to follow us on, say, Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, Twitter, Untranslatable1, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher, if you were to actually do it when I said it, maybe I wouldn't get so confused at the very concept of me saying these things out loud. So how about you help me with my existential crisis? Existential, the word of 2019. It's 2020 now. Welcome to 2020, everyone. Chad, you have a 5-week vacation. I mean, theoretically, though, as a teacher, you should be used to these kind of things, right?
Theoretically, yeah. But you never get used to them. Well, maybe you do. Maybe I'm just bad at it. Who knows?
What's the occasion, or how do they justify 5 weeks? Is it just mid-semester, or is there some holiday we don't have here?
You hit the nail on the head. It's because of a holiday we don't have in the United States, which is Chinese New Year and Spring Festival. So my semester officially ends on January 11th, and I will go back February 16th or 17th, I think is the day that Monday is, I believe, February 17th. So I will have to go back and start teaching then. And it kind of reminds me, though, of our old school days at Albion when we would have like 5 weeks off during winter as well. Remember? And I remember that all of our friends that went to bigger schools, Michigan State or University of Michigan, they'd have like 2 to 3 weeks off, and I'd just be chilling at home with like 3 weeks left. Like, okay, twiddling my thumbs. Like,
I remember that too. Like, I would start by bragging to my friends, like, you already got to go back? And then, like, after all my friends were back in school, I'd be so bored. And I'd be like, honestly, I'd rather just be at school at this point. Like, now I'm just hanging out with my parents.
Exactly.
When I could be.
And we love our parents, but it's different when your friends are all gone.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I've lived with my parents for years. I get it. They're not fun. I love them, but they're not fun.
Don't they listen to this podcast?
Yeah, they're not fun. They don't want to party. I think they'd agree. Yeah, no, we don't want to quote unquote have fun with you guys. You said the Chinese New Year. Mm-hmm. What year are we talking?
Year of the Rat.
So, I'm glad I'm not that one. I guess I am monkey, which is not that much better. What? They don't do numbers at all. Like, I know I've heard of those year of the animal, insert animal.
Well, it's a 12-year cycle, and they repeat every 12 years.
So they don't even bother mentioning the year, is what I'm getting at. Like, it's just like another year of the rat, or now it's year of the.
I think the animal implies what year it is. Because if you know it's a 12-year cycle, in theory, mathematically, you could probably figure out what year it is. But their calendar, I believe, is the lunar calendar, if I remember correctly. I'm a sheep. I was born year of the sheep. You're a monkey.
Oh,
There's
wow,
some-
easy.
there's-
Slipping on gator piss.
Sorry, you were born
That's-
Year of the Monkey.
That's a good
let
drop.
me
That is a
let
good
me
drop right
rephrase
there.
that
You're a monkey?
But apparently, there is. I don't know what the can't talk today. What the philosophy is, but I guess every year, each animal, if you're born in that year, you're supposed to. It's almost kind of like the way that we use zodiac signs a little bit. Like they say, if you're like, they say for me as a sheep, I am very laid back, which I think in
Sheepish.
some regards is true. Thanks, Jared. Laid back. Sheep tend to work well with people. I'm not sure what the consensus is on monkeys. People born Year of the Monkey, but you're a monkey, Jared. So I
bet you
could
have
tell me.
some ideas though, Chad. All right. We'll talk more about the new year, and clearly we've exhausted our knowledge of it. But I want to talk about more how you're going to spend this 5 weeks later. But
Sounds good.
one of the obvious options for you is travel. That goes without saying. Whether you're going to do that or not, we'll find out in a bit. But
Yes, we will.
I've traveled a little bit last year. You traveled a good bit last year, and everyone has their opinion on who are the best airlines, what's the worst airlines. I believe I told you recently United's not going to last because of how bad they are. Mm-hmm. You don't think Spirit's going to last, and these are all good guesses. Although I did say I think Frontier will last. I said for some reason I feel like they'll last before Spirit does. I believe I said that. I don't even listen to any of this, and I edit all of it. These airlines had the fewest on-time arrivals in 2019. Let's get down to it. Who do you think had the fewest on-time arrivals in 2019? There are...
Is it an American carrier?
It's all American. Give me the
United.
The bottom two, the worst, and the best. No, United's not on this list.
Spirit. Those are my two
No.
go-to. No. Okay.
No.
I don't know that many airlines.
The two. I'll give you a clue. The two with the lowest on-time arrival are both low-cost carriers, though, or fewest on-time arrivals, I should say, not lowest.
I have no idea, buddy.
Frontier
tell me. Okay.
is a low cost, and it had 74.4% of Frontier flights and 74.8% of JetBlue flights successfully arrived on time in 2019. Meanwhile, can you guess what the best is?
Delta.
Very good, very good.
Yes.
You probably can't guess the other one. No offense.
Probably not.
Seeing how fast you gave up on those losers.
Yeah, probably not.
Alaska Air.
Oh, Alaska
I wouldn't
Airlines,
expect
okay.
you to get that, obviously.
Yeah,
ranked
I
the
wouldn't have
best
gotten that one.
with 85.69% giggity and 82.01% of all flights making it to the gate on time.
Oh, nice.
I take Delta a lot, not because I have some sort of allegiance because they're the best or anything. It's just because they have a hub here in Detroit, so it has turned out that way because I grew up here. But I'm honestly surprised that the gap's even that big. I thought they'd all suck. I thought they would all suck. I see people claim in the comments, it's based off of where the hubs are for some of these places. So like, because the hubs are in certain locations, like Frontier being in Denver, for example, they're more prone to weather incidences,
Right,
and it's like,
right.
yeah, come on. I'm sure that has something to do with it.
You don't
but
think that has any validity?
I think it has some validity, but I don't think it's swaying the needle that hard.
Okay.
That might give it I might give it 3 to 5 percentage points because of that.
Okay.
But those are still big gaps, nonetheless.
fair. That's fair.
So yeah, that makes sense. Of course, the low cost airlines are gonna be the worst. That's how it's supposed to
Right.
be, I guess.
In theory, yeah. I mean, if the phrase "you get what you pay for" has any truth in it,
Exactly.
then, yeah, that's true.
Speaking of getting what you pay for, by the way,
Spread a little love.
I think we should spread a little love.
Let's
People
do
get
it.
more what they pay for in this segment.
Let's do it. My shout out today goes out to a woman in Japan named Kane Tanaka, who has extended her record as the world's oldest person by celebrating her 117th birthday at a nursing home in Fukuoka in southern Japan. Tanaka marked her birthday with a party on Sunday, along with staff and friends at the nursing home. Television from local broadcaster TVQ Kyushu Broadcasting Co. showed. Her birthday was on January 2nd, so she is the oldest living person according to Guinness Book of World Records. So I think that's great. I hope 2020 will be an awesome year for her.
Yeah.
And she can extend it to 118 in 2021.
I mean, speaking of existential, I wonder how it feels having all that attention on you, you know? Like it's almost that like pressure, you know? I mean, it's definitely pressure. It kind of feels like. I feel like that would not help. I mean, obviously you can't help the attention in the year of our Lord 2020. People are thirsty's going to be thirsty, you know? People are going to go for those clicks. But I feel like that like more attention can't be good. I mean, I don't know. I'm speaking for myself.
I feel like in a way,
Don't stress me out with how
must
old I
be
am.
kind of nice.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you're getting recognized.
How you feeling?
I
I don't know. I guess you like the idea of being recognized.
I guess
leave
so.
me alone.
I mean, she seemed happy in the pictures.
I haven't seen the pictures.
So
Yeah,
but shout out to her. That's really awesome.
for
Kane
sure.
Tanaka.
Happy birthday.
Sending lots of love. Happy belated. And we hope 2020 will be a great year for you. Well, Jared, I think it's time we get into the namesake of our podcast.
Yes.
And for some
I've
of
got
our
some good
listeners
ones
out
today.
there, oh, good. Well, for some of our listeners out there, they may know or may remember, I will be going to Bali, Indonesia in a few weeks. That is a small part of my vacation, but I'm actually going for work. And I have an Indonesian phrase for you today, Jared. So here we go. It is.
Okay. They speak English there too, don't they?
They do, yes.
Okay.
But this is an Indonesian phrase, babi buta, and it means blind pig, if you translate it directly. I will tell you, though, Jared, I'll give you a little hint. This is a phrase to describe a person. Now, what that person's doing, you will have to figure out. Or
Blind
how to describe
pig?
that person. Blind pig.
Is it just like someone that's clueless?
Nope. We would use this phrase not related really to an animal, but when someone with a color. You actually guessed this on our last episode.
Someone with a color. Mm-hmm. Is it someone that's like blue? I'm feeling blue.
No, it's
color.
It's a brighter color than blue. It's a color I see everywhere here in China.
Red. Angry. A blind pig. Blind rage.
There we go.
Is that what it is?
Someone who lashes out angrily is a blind pig.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can kind of imagine that. Pig is an interesting animal in my American mind because usually that's just gluttony, laziness. Right. You know, I don't really relate anger in pigs, but
I wonder if they have like feral pigs or boars in Indonesia, and maybe that's
like
why.
Hogs or some sort. Or those? Yeah. My first untranslatable is from New Zealand. That means it's English, but doesn't mean you'll know what
Kiwi
it is.
English.
That's for sure. He couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery. That sounded more Australian, but still like nothing. He couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery.
So that's like he can't do anything? Can't get anything done?
Yeah, sure. He's unable to accomplish a simple task. Can't get anything done. Okay. I'll give you that for sure.
All right, nice.
Couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery.
Hey, sometimes maybe they got stage fright. Who knows? Who knows?
It's piss. Oh, so now I understand it. So he's like he couldn't even plan for people to get drunk at a bar. Essentially, is what they're saying.
Okay. That makes
Piss up
sense.
meaning like you couldn't organize people
Can't
getting
get
pissed.
drunk. Yeah.
Real pissa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I have 2 Chinese ones for you. This one is Fei Qin Wang Shi, sorry. And it means fail to sleep and forget to eat. Now, I will tell you, Jared, this is actually a positive phrase. Fail to sleep.
Is it like you're
and
so
forget to
happy
eat.
that you fail to sleep and forget to eat, or you're so in love?
No, Jared, what else could you be doing that would make you forget to eat and forget to sleep?
Having fun. You're having so much fun.
Nope.
Sleeping. Oh wait,
You
fell asleep.
You remember those college days when you had 5 exams due and or 5 exams,
studying.
Not necessarily studying, but also working hard. You work so hard you forget to eat and sleep.
Okay,
And so this is
okay.
an idiom used to praise people, and I love these stories of some of these idioms, Jared. So let me tell you this quick story. So the origin of this
real quick
idiom,
though, it's interesting. I need to know the context. Think about the context though, because I feel like I should know that if it's going to be Chinese, they're probably not going to be like talking about getting hammered or drunk in a positive light. It's just
probably not.
Yeah,
Probably not.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, not like our Kiwis. So here's
So
the
story,
origin
sorry.
of this. So the idiom originated from the famous Chinese educator and philosopher Confucius. Confucius taught many students, many of whom became famous later on. This Cheng Yu, or 4-character Chinese idiom, is a famous Confucius saying. Tse Lu, one of Confucius's students, told his teacher that someone who had heard of Confucius's fame asked him about his personality, Confucius's personality. The question took Confucius by surprise. Why don't you tell him, said Confucius, that Confucius's personality is that he studies so hard without feeling tired, and he even forgets to eat, but still teaches a lot and is not afraid of being poor. He even forgets his age.
So Confucius
there
talks
is
in
the
third person is what I'm getting at.
You better believe it, buddy.
Because that was kind of a confusing sentence, but then I'm like, oh, okay, Confucius is telling himself to tell those people, and then he's telling them in third person. Okay.
That's right. When you're at the level of Confucius, I think you're allowed to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you say that reading it now, many years later, but if he was talking to you like that, you'd be like, all right, dude, come on. Come on.
I'm going to start to only refer to myself in the third person from now on, Jared.
Chad says, the next untranslatable, my next untranslatable, Jared says, the next untranslatable is French, and it's fondre comme neige au soleil. To
Something
melt
about our sun.
To melt like snow in the sun.
Is this like to not have a thick skin?
No. So it's more like something that you do. So like you
Work really hard.
No, but maybe say you did work really hard, then that night you went out and
to get drunk, get wasted.
I love it. It makes me so happy when you don't let me finish the clue, because then you give what you would do, I assume, but not what the actual answer is, and it makes me very happy.
What's the full clue? Sorry.
No. All I was gonna say was, and then you go out and you start making it rain, and
to spend money.
Yeah, to dissipate rapidly.
Okay.
Usually money.
Okay.
So it's
I
not
like
just to
that.
spend
Okay.
money, but it's to spend it aggressively. To melt
Right.
like snow in the sun. That's what happens
That's a
to your
good
money.
one.
It just disappears like snow in the sun.
I like it. That's a good one. I'll give you the other Chinese one for our next episode. I think we have a lot to talk about today in our main topic. So let's start talking about it. So just to give some context for our listeners that either forwarded through the beginning of our podcast. No one ever actually does that. Well, you never know. But I will be going on a 5-week...
Never even crossed my mind.
break from teaching. Well, technically, I'll be at least here at my post here in Jinan, but I will be doing a teaching workshop in Harbin. So I will have to do a little bit of work, but it's a modified presentation I've done on games, just with a focus on speaking and listening. But other than that, I will have the time off. So I will need to fill my time with other things other than teaching. I already miss my students dearly. So, Jared, what do you think I should do? What would you do if you were me?
Well, Chad, I've had all day at work to think about what you should do over your vacation. I'm sick of looking things up, having the internet tell me things. I used my own brain and I thought, what do I want to see Chad do? Or what do I think he could do that could fulfill him during his 5 weeks? What would WWJD, dare I say, what would Jared do?
What would Jared do?
Okay, sorry, I'm reading my own notes. Go to museums. You like museums. And Chad, you're going to be like, oh, that's an interesting idea. I wonder what kind of museums they have. I can tell you. Here are a list of some of the top museums in Jinan, and we can see what might interest you museum-wise. Do you know any museums in your area?
There is a science and technology museum. I've walked by it before. Other than that, I couldn't tell you. I know there's probably a history of Jinan museum somewhere. I will tell you this, though, Jared. I will ask you, and you may not know this question, so I apologize for asking, but how many of these museums have English in the museums? Because at least there are, from what I've heard, a lot
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. Because from what I've heard, at least in
How
smaller
much research
tier
do you
cities,
think I'm doing?
lots of research. Lots and lots of research. And because from what I've heard, Jared, and this is good for our listeners to know who decide to come to China, if you're in a lower tier city, so I believe Jinan is a tier 2 or tier 3 city, they won't have as much English in places. If you go to tier 1 cities like Beijing or Shanghai, you will see a lot more English. And here, go ahead and take a look at our Shanghai episode if you're curious. I will say, I think in Shanghai, you don't really need to know much Chinese at all. In Beijing, it's really useful to know some Chinese. So what museums are there, though, Jared?
Now, I knew this was going to go like this. Chad, every time anything slightly new is introduced to him, he is so good. You, Chad, are so good at just finding any sort of reason why it can't be done, why you can't do it, why it's impossible, why it's just out of reach. I have a couple counters for you. One, I don't think it fully matters whether it's in English or Chinese or not. Who cares? Dude, I go to museums all the time, and I don't learn anything, and they're all in English. You make it seem like you have to go in there with some sort of greater knowledge goal. We're trying to think about ways to kill 5 weeks of freedom in a place where essentially no one. Yeah, I know you know people, but essentially no one. And so another thing I would say is you could go to these museums and find out. And if it's not, you could still figure out a way to get through and pay to get in. Look around. See what kind of things they have in their museums. What sort of just what sort of artifacts they have. Mm-hmm. One of the museums is the Shandong Museum, and I went to the website, and it says Shandong Museum, founded in 1954. It's the first large-scale, provincial, integrated topographic museum in the People's Republic of China. It was established in 2 parts, the eastern part by the British Baptist missionary J.S. Whitewright in 1904, located in Guangxi Temple in Guangxi Temple Street, which used to be one of the earliest museums within the boundaries of China. The western part in 1954 located in the World Red Swastika Society. In Shangshan Street. Is that it? Shangshan Street?
I couldn't tell you, buddy.
Which used to be the seat of a religious society which combines Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. The former site of the eastern part was turned to the natural specimen showroom, and the western part, the historical relics showroom, when Shandong province was founded. So, even if it's not in English, it still seems interesting.
It might be in English based on who started.
The website's in English.
Yeah,
that's true, and it seems like it was started by English speakers. Li Qingzhou Museum Hall. Have you heard of that? A memorial hall, excuse me.
Mm-mm.
That's number 2 on trip. We're not going to go through all of these. Have you heard of any museums in China? This is beautiful. Wow.
The only one, as I told you, I know of the science. There should be like I forget the name of it now. But I walked by it. It's right downtown. It's like the Science and Technology Museum or Technology Museum of
Now,
China.
here's another great example. This museum, from what I'm seeing in the pictures, is gorgeous. Now, if it's only in Chinese, I don't think it matters, because just the fact that you're seeing this building, I think is worth it in itself. This is the Li. I already said what it was. I don't need to say it again, because clearly I can't. And this is what I'm getting at, is we're not going to go through all these museums, because I'm boring
museums
myself already.
are a great tip, for sure.
And just because you don't speak the language, I don't think that matters in the slightest. That's all I'm getting at. That's all I'm getting at, But I look forward to why you can't do this next one, which is, explore what your Chinese TV has to offer. You have that TV sitting in front of you, and you've talked about how maybe I'll turn it on at some point. I'm gonna guess you haven't turned it on once.
How much money are you willing to bet on that one?
All right, I'm gonna guess you haven't turned it on 3 times.
You're wrong. You are very
really?
wrong. Maybe
Do you
it's just
watch
because
it?
I haven't mentioned it on the podcast, but actually, it's awesome.
What have you seen?
So I turned it on,
And I apologize, by the way.
You're good. I turned it on.
I assume you have to tell me everything on this that you do in your life.
That's true.
Podcast.
That's true. Who needs
on.
a journal or a diary when you have a podcast with Jared, right? So I found out my TV is kind of like a smart TV. I guess it by our standards it is a smart TV. It's connected to my Wi-Fi, and you remember, Jared, that when I got internet, I was wondering, should I get cable or not? Pay the extra money, and I decided no. Now I'm very glad I decided not to, because when I first turned on my TV, the first thing it made me do was hook it up to Wi-Fi. So I hooked it up to Wi-Fi, and there are tons and tons of cool, like you can get news. It's all in Chinese, but you can get news. There's like a spot. I don't know if you would call it an app or what you would call it, where it says TV, and it says TV and has like a picture of a TV. And there are all sorts of Chinese movies, and then also there is a spot for foreign movies as well, foreign movies and foreign series. So I actually watched the entire series of Supernatural a couple months ago. I like it. It's pretty good. Jared's clearly not pleased with my answer.
No. There's nothing wrong with the show. The funny thing is, you say this all proud of yourself that you did turn on the TV. Like I was bringing this up to be like, hey, yeah, turn it on and find some great American shows you haven't watched. Watch them in English and catch up on some great American TV.
So I've tried to watch the news in Chinese a couple times, but the 2 news channels that at least I've clicked on, it's, at least in the States with a lot of news channels, I'll have like little pictures in the background, right? The one news channel that I've watched, it's literally just the same background, and I have no idea what they're talking about. The only thing
I guess that's
know,
fair. What am I asking of you? To just listen to some guy or woman just talk at you?
Well, I might try to watch some of the movies.
Eyes.
I might try to watch some of the movies.
At least those can have some entertainment value to them visually.
Right. But you're 100% right with the TV, for sure.
I have 2 words for you, Chad. Hashtag maps off.
Okay. So
a hashtag maps off exploration of Jinan. A hashtag maps off exploration of... Can I say where else you're going?
Yeah.
Beijing. Which would even be easier to do, I would imagine.
Yep.
But full on explorations. You know you can't get lost. You know you have the time. I
Right.
think that would be interesting to do. Just see where your own 2 feet take you.
Right. So I will be spending 3 weeks in Beijing, give or take. 3, maybe 4. We'll see. It all depends on if my girlfriend ends up going back to Russia for a week or not.
Пожалуйста.
But I'm excited. I'm hoping to. I know there's a couple guitar stores and a couple like kind of areas where it's like a music street shop. You better believe that I'll be going there. I also saw a book that I should have pulled the trigger on when I first saw it, but a book of 200 of the most useful Chinese characters. I'm planning on going and buying that as soon as I'm back in Beijing and learn how to write and say these 200 characters. So grow my Chinese vocabulary of like 10
Of
words
course.
to hopefully 210 words. So that will be great.
I mean, that's huge, dude. If you haven't done it yet, but if
Right.
if that were to happen, that's a big deal for sure.
Right. I think the key, though, Jared, to any long vacation is you need some variety. Because if you do the same thing the entire 5 weeks,
It's impossible.
you are going to be bored
For me,
to
at
tears.
least.
Now, I will say the one thing that I could do, I think, the entire 5 weeks and not get bored with, I think you know my answer, Jared.
Guitar.
Yep. And so that's what I want to ask you, Jared. So here's my situation. So I have a fairly heavy suitcase because I'm packing for, quite a few weeks of being gone from Jinan. I won't be back here probably for about 20 days. So I got a full suitcase. I'm taking a backpack as well, with my laptop and my Kindle and other stuff. Question is, Jared, so there's a cheap acoustic guitar at my girlfriend's apartment. So I would have that while I'm in Beijing. But it doesn't play great. It doesn't, I play it and it's okay, but it doesn't quite inspire and arouse the interest as it would if I had my acoustic guitar or my traveler guitar. So the question is, Jared, do I suck it up and bring my traveler guitar with me and haul it along with the rest of my stuff, or do I just play the cheap acoustic at my girlfriend's place and keep the traveler guitar here? What are your thoughts?
I'd say if you're not aroused to play that cheap acoustic, bring your guitar, because listen to yourself and know that if all you have is that cheap acoustic, you're not really going to be playing to your fullest potential or as much as you probably know you could/want to. And I'm glad you asked that, because that actually leads to another recommendation I have for how to fill your free time. And this is a major bullet point with 3 sub-bullet points, and I'll explain what I'm talking about in a second.
All right.
Podcast improvement tasks. One of them is pod music, is what I have written here.
Oh, okay.
And so another thing I would say would be, if you're only using that cheap acoustic guitar that, as you said yourself, you're not really even aroused to pick up, you also won't be able to transpose this new podcast music to GarageBand.
Fair. That's a good point. That is a very good point. Yeah, I guess the only thing for me is I guess it's just a lame excuse, isn't it, Jerry? I mean, my traveler guitar is not that heavy. To just strap it on my shoulder with my other stuff, it's not really that much extra to bring. So you know what? I'm going to bring it.
But I like that, and I like where your head's at. I'm not trying to get you to carry more stuff. I understand that. And I'm not trying to guilt you through our podcast to bring it with you. Because I have 2 other bullet points that involve bringing no extra material, so I'd be willing to give this one up. But I hear you, though. It is heavy. It's not heavy, but it is something else to bring. How much do you plan on bringing in your backpack, though? I guess that's where it's at. Are you going to have a full backpack?
Not too much. No, it's not full. Because my suitcase is so full, I probably could have put some stuff
You're taking the train, one stop?
Yeah, direct train from Jinan to Beijing.
I'd say bring it.
Yeah.
You don't need to bring I mean, you have your headphones. You just play on your headphones. Better experience, wider range, pod music.
The other thing I was thinking too is killing time, as in if I'm sitting waiting at the train station before my train leaves, I usually like read. I was reading The Witcher, but I've finished the first book, so I need to order the second one. So, and I could read my Kindle, but sometimes it's nice to noodle on guitar. And that's one thing, Jared, that is one of my goals. I think it's important when you have a long vacation to set some goals, so you don't just sit on the couch and become a couch potato. One of my goals is
I find myself doing that
I
sometimes.
I can too, especially watching stuff online. It's very easy to do nowadays. The internet gives us.
I started
so many
watching Big
excuses to
Mouth
be
on
lazy.
Netflix. Have you seen that show?
Oh, I have. I've watched all of it.
It's
great.
been I've been me and my girlfriend have been loving that show recently.
It is hilarious. But one of my goals, Jared, is to improve and at least play guitar for at least an hour a day. I think that's very attainable.
Yeah, I believe that you can do that. And me being a novice, now probably even lower than novice because I've really lost it on my piano. Even an hour, just for those people that aren't as going as hard, aren't as experienced as you, I would say even committing to 10 to 15 minutes a day is a
it's
big
big.
goal or good step.
Absolutely.
Because I think even more than how long you do it, is the consistency. Much like speaking a language, I would say. It's
100%.
It's all about that consistency.
100%.
Some other pod improvement tasks. Now, I wanted to say this one till the end, but you got me with the music, so I'll keep going.
Okay, let's hear it.
Figure out way. Now, obvious one is to figure out ways to reach a bigger audience. Ways to market us, ways to improve maybe our social media. For some reason, our WordPress no longer is connected to our Podbean. That's messing up. So our episodes aren't going to our WordPress, and so people aren't seeing it on our website, untranslatablepodcast.com. So that's an obvious one. We could always be doing that, and it's easy to get into a rut, into get comfortable. Although I have been seeing some big countries out there, some growing countries. Kazakhstan, bro, shout out. Nice. Canada is going
Kazakhstan.
crazy.
We appreciate it.
Saskatchewan, Ontario, and British Columbia.
Nice.
All three of those are strong.
Nice.
Italy's been strong for a while. Turkey, it's good to see you guys out there. Anyway,
That's awesome.
Okay, one more. I mentioned this last episode or a couple episodes ago. Reach out now, and now that we know we have a consistent way to talk to guests, no matter where we are. Reach out to you. You have a lot of great guest ideas. And I hear you when you tell me them, but I don't do anything about it because I'm like, well, these are Chad's people. I don't know these people.
Right.
Take this time to email some of these people,
Good call.
and see if you can, and at least reach out to these people and make a hello. I'm Chad from the Untranslatable Podcast with my co-host Jared. We have millions of listeners and many subscribers and sponsors, and we would love to just lie a little bit, All right, that's enough about us. I have some more though. I do have a couple more. How's the grocery store been treating you? How's your body health wise? You not been nervous about getting sick recently?
Nope. I will tell you though, I have gained about 2 pounds, Jared, and I think some of it has to do with my girlfriend is an amazing cook, and we both enjoy food quite a bit. So we probably eat a little too much and don't exercise enough. So I think either the exercising needs to go up or the food intake needs to go down a bit.
Usually when your girlfriend is cooking this amazing food, what are you doing? Where are you? How are you responding or interacting with her? What's the space like?
If we're in Beijing, her kitchen is a bit tight for even 2 people to work there because it's pretty narrow. So usually, when she was cooking beforehand, it was the end of the semester and it was very chaotic. So I was preparing for finals, trying to help my students study, grading, stuff like that. Now that I'm free, I'm hoping to bump elbows with her and get in the kitchen with her, I hope. Would be a lot of fun.
Slipping on gator piss. Let's focus on cooking food for now. Easy on the bumping of elbows. Well, that's interesting because next on my list is learn how to cook something. But I think part of that in my head, I like that you have your girlfriend there. One, because she knows the language. Two, because she knows her way around a kitchen, which you don't know either of those things. But I would say figure out something with your girlfriend that you guys want to make for dinner. Go to the grocery store with her. Or did she get her groceries delivered? Does everyone do that? I don't know. Do people go to the grocery store in China?
A lot of people do that. Yeah.
All right.
Get it delivered.
I don't know. Make it a date. Go to the grocery store. Get the groceries. Come back. Cook it. And actually get your hands dirty, you know? You're too old to say that you don't know how to cook anything.
That's fair. I agree with you.
And I have one more. Now this is just wishful thinking, really, at this point. Table tennis.
Yeah. I think you're right. That is wishful thinking. And the problem is, with this break, from what I've heard, a lot of places, including even Jinan, kind of becomes a bit of a ghost town because people go home to see their families over this break.
So where is no one no one has family in Jinan? No one lives in Beijing and is coming to Jinan to see their family?
No, I'm sure there are plenty of people, but I'm not sure if one, I don't know where any table tennis clubs are. I did find one little spot in my apartment complex, but we'll see.
So what's wrong with that place? You can't go there? You can't even start there?
What I'm saying is I'm not sure if people will be chilling there. I'll have to see.
I gotcha.
I still need to... I hate to admit this. My father would be so disappointed in me, but I don't even have a paddle yet.
I'm disappointed in you. I'm not angry at you. I'm just disappointed.
You're just disappointed. Thanks, Jared. That's like the worst thing a parent can tell you. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Jared, so I talked about goals. I want to share some of my goals.
One more thing, though. I understand you not being able to go because it might be tough timing. Even if there are places, they might be a little scarce because it's hard to get out with the family around and all that stuff. But you can at least figure out where some of these places might be able to be. So once everyone's back in the swing of things, maybe you could just go. Just a recommendation. Now, please,
that's a good idea. Absolutely. So a couple of my goals. Because I will be having more time, I want to spend more time learning Chinese and also Russian. My Duolingo streak has not been going strong lately, so I'm hoping to bump that back up again. Also get that book, as I was saying, and learn how to write Chinese characters as well. Because there is a method to do it, Jared. There's a certain...
a method to learning it strategically, you mean? Okay.
Yes. Well, yeah, there's a way you're supposed to write certain Chinese characters. So that's another goal of mine. Obviously, play a lot of guitar. Do some pod stuff as well. It's funny you mentioned music. I was definitely hoping to come up with some new music. Another thing that I would like to do, at least while I'm in Beijing, is also jam with some people. I have a few friends who are musicians in Beijing, and I would like to play music with them as well, which would be a lot of fun. And my last goal is to do some exploring. In Beijing, I haven't done a ton of sightseeing because usually I just spend time with my girlfriend, and she's been in and out of China for the past 10 years. So for her, sightseeing is kind of, I think she's already seen it all and done it all, at least in Beijing. Right. So I'm hoping to do some of that. Hoping to hit up the Beijing Zoo this week once I get there, which will be super awesome.
What are some sort of generic tourist attractions in Beijing, like the Brandenburg tour of Beijing,
Forbidden City,
the Eiffel Tower of Beijing. What is it?
The Forbidden City. That used to be where the emperor lived, so it was forbidden for normal citizens and Joe Schmoes like Jared and I to go visit there. So the Forbidden City is one. Then there is, I believe, the Lama Temple and Temple of Heaven. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I mean, you can see the Great Wall. It's about a 2.5 hour drive outside of the city, I think.
That takes some doing.
Yeah,
I mean, you should see it before you go. I mean, before you go back home permanently, you should definitely visit it.
Oh,
But if you don't
absolutely.
do it now, I wouldn't blame you for that because it is sort of a chore. It feels like.
Right. Right. But yeah, it's been tricky though, thinking about what to take and what to leave, since I will
Yeah.
be gone for at least 20 days. Had
What
to
kind
be
of-
very strategic.
What kind of access to laundry do you have?
So there is a washing machine at my girlfriend's place, but the issue is there's not a ton of space to dry. So you also have to be smart about how much you're washing and where to put it afterwards. So that's why I had to be strategic in bringing. I tried to bring some stuff that was quick dry, so wash it, dry it. Hopefully in a day or two, it's completely
Some
dry.
moisture wicking clothes.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, and depending on what happens, if I come back to Jinan, then I can, obviously leave some stuff here, and because the whole issue was, Jared, is I was thinking if I don't end up coming back to Jinan for those five days or 6 days or however long until from between Harbin and, well, really it's like 10 days between Harbin and Bali. Then the question is, I also need to bring what I'm going to bring with me to Bali. So I also had to do that as well. So I have that ready to go. I'm thinking the likelihood is I probably will be coming back to Jinan for at least 5 days, maybe a little longer. We'll see. All depends on train tickets as well. For the week of the 20th to the 25th of January, I've looked at trains. And unless I take like a 6-hour trip, like I take 2 trains to get back to Jinan, all the direct trains from Beijing to Jinan are sold out. Every single one of them.
It's just it's just heavy travel time.
It is.
Peak travel time. Yeah.
It is.
Well, that's annoying, but I don't know. That is annoying, but I guess you just know that and you just have to plan for it. It is what it is, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing too, Jared, my last goal, and then we can move on and talk about some music. But my
Hey,
last
don't rush
goal,
it, Chad.
actually,
I wanna hear your goals, please.
my last goal is I would like to read at least 5 books. I figure I have
Wow.
5 weeks. A book a week is very doable with the amount of time I'll have. Really, I'd like to read upwards of 8 to 10 books. We'll see. 2 books a week might be a lofty goal, especially while I'm in Bali because I'll be there for work. But we'll see.
Can you read multiple books at once?
Yes, I usually do.
Okay. What kind of books do you have? Some like a back or log of books you want to read, or do you just find them? Are they fiction, nonfiction? Good for your profession?
Most
just
of them are
entertaining?
nonfiction. The majority of them are nonfiction and related to either music, teaching, or finance. Trying to learn a lot more about finance. Become more financially responsible as I get older, which is always
Yes.
good.
You betcha.
So I have some of those types of books. I mean, on my Kindle alone, I think I have over, not trying to flex on anybody right now, but I have over 100 books on my Kindle.
Yes.
So I'm hoping to knock some of those out. Yeah, I would like to read a couple and find a couple books, and I'm sure I can once I'm in Beijing. Find a couple books as well about China, Chinese culture, Chinese history, stuff like that. I think although I have learned some stuff from my students and from my colleagues, I think there's a lot more I have to learn about China. And I figure what better time than now to learn it. So
I have another recommendation for you. Is there like a Airbnb, Couchsurfer? One of those exists in Beijing, right? Or in China, I should say.
I'm pretty sure Couchsurfing does. I would imagine so.
Look to see what sort of events they have on there.
That's a great
I would
idea.
recommend doing something, and this is a new thing for me, but I would, after my trip to Toronto, I would recommend looking up maybe a walking tour of some area or something. It's just a good way. What I really liked about when I did it was the tour, seeing stuff was great, but just getting the snippets of facts about the actual city intertwined into it is what I enjoyed.
That's a great tip.
It helps appreciate the city. At least for me, it did.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and the whole thing about Beijing is I know the nightlife fairly well, but that's about it. I don't really know that much about the sites, about the history. So I am definitely hoping to learn that while I'm there for those weeks. And then when I have time in Jinan, I'm hoping to do the same as well. So should be
Yeah,
fun.
there you
I
go.
think the key. I think the key with any long vacation is have a good balance of relaxation, but also doing stuff.
Yes.
Learning stuff, enjoying your hobbies. To our listeners out there, if you don't have a hobby, get a hobby. Pick up an instrument, learn how to draw, learn a new language, do something.
Start a podcast.
Start a
Don't
podcast.
do that, actually. Don't do that.
It's a lot
Leave
of
that
work,
to us.
but it's a lot of fun. I mean, the best tip I would give anybody for 5 weeks off is listen to the entire catalog of the Untranslatable podcast. It's a lot to learn, a lot of fun, and you can hear a lot of great music on the Untranslatable podcast. Well, not directly on our podcast because of copyright, but via our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast. And today we have a very special artist from Australia, Ainsley Farrell, and the title of the song is called Walls. And the music video is pretty interesting. What were your thoughts on the song and the video, Jared?
The music video. To be honest with you, I didn't pay close attention to the music video. I guess I can open it now. But the song I liked, it was very is indie the right, like it had the very like indie vibe to it. But it was good. There's so many artists to me that are similar to that, but I can't even think of their name. But like, if you were to say not like a Nora Jones-esque, or even like who else is similar to her? Oh, I don't know. She's got just a very soft-spoken-y indie vibe, you know. Like she knows a lot about sage, and she knows her way around a crystal, and she is very in line with her chakras. Oh, I'm looking at the video now. She's staring at you, sitting in a chair, very symmetrically between two windows, and a bunch of stuffed animals are appearing in front of her.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of a cool video. I like the way it was shot.
Yeah. And then she's playing guitar in a bathtub filled with towels and sheets. So yeah, just normal fun stuff. But I like that. Yeah, I mean, and it looks very like homemade. Like it looks like I could shoot this on my iPhone.
Right.
Looks like you could shoot this on your iPhone. Actually, let me put it that way.
I'm not so sure.
If I did
about
it might look better than that.
But yeah, it's a fantastic song. I really like. I like the vocal melodies. The guitar, I think, is. It's not complicated, but I think it fits the song perfectly.
It doesn't have to be complicated to be good,
doesn't.
though, you know? Like, not everything
at all.
has to be Jimi Hendrix ripping it, you know?
Right. No, and that's why it fits the song, I think. It's really great. You're right, though. There are definitely some good indie vibes. I picked this song, Jared, because I think it has kind of a relaxed, laid-back feel, which is definitely the feel I'm trying to go for this long holiday.
Yes.
No stress, relaxed, chilling, learning stuff, doing stuff, I think is great. So check that out on our YouTube channel, Untranslatable Podcast, at the Song of the Pod playlist. We are sure you will enjoy it. So, Jared, speaking of relaxation, my Chinese word of the pod today is fang song. Fang song. I'm not sure if I said the tones right, and that means relaxation. So there you go.
Okay. Mine is my Spanish word of the pod, is aburrido or aburrida.
Aburrido?
Can you?
Aburrida?
Thank you. Thank you. I can't roll my R's, everyone. It means bored.
Yeah. I think that is the danger with these long vacations. You just got to keep yourself busy.
And you never want to admit, at least I personally, even if I am dangerously bored, I never want to admit to being bored because it feels a little childish. And it also feels like in my head where it's like, I'm saying this, but I know there are things I can do. It's just like I'm bored, quote unquote. But no, it's just I want to be lazy is really more what I should be saying. Hey, I want to be lazy.
Right.
Not I'm bored.
And that's why I think it's very important to find that balance between relaxing and being lazy and getting out and doing stuff. Because I think the worst experiences are when, or the worst vacation is when, or maybe the best, depending on who you are and your personality. But at least for me, if it's been 5 weeks and I feel like I've done nothing, I feel like I wasted my vacation. You know,
I understand that, and maybe there are people that don't feel that way, but I think it's don't feel guilty about doing nothing if that's how you're gonna spend it. Like I feel like sometimes when I feel that way, I'm like, oh, I could be spending this time better. I can't believe I'm just sitting here. I can't believe I'm about to start another episode of Big Mouth. Things like that.
Yeah, I think it's, as I said, though, I think it's good to have a mixture of stuff. Now, if you really want to just sit at home and watch Netflix, we aren't here to judge you, but I think at the end of the day, what will give you a lot more fulfillment during your vacation is definitely to pick something up, improve something.
Get outside, explore.
Exactly. Maps off, all of that stuff. So, yeah, I think that's really important. Go to museums, pick up a hobby, read a book. Watch a documentary. You can still be kind of lazy, but you're also learning at the same time.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Absolutely, Jared. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, we'll definitely keep you posted on my adventures throughout these 5 weeks. I'm looking forward to Bali. I'm looking forward to Beijing. And also exploring Jinan a little bit as well once I come back home. So that'll be great. So follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, to see what kind of shenanigans Jared and I will be up to. Also, check us out on YouTube, Untranslatable Podcast. And if you're curious about our Song of the Pod or Songs of the Pod, check that out. It is on there as a playlist, and we know you'll enjoy. And lastly, please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know
Spread a little
how
love.
we can make this podcast better for you. We would really appreciate it. We send out a lot of love to all of our listeners, especially the new ones coming from Kazakhstan, all of our friends in Italy and elsewhere around the world. We really appreciate it. So, as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme, muchas gracias, and shishya.